They're horrified. That's the overwhelming majority. If you were to poll every self-identifying Democrat Party voter, liberal in this country, you would realize that they think this is unconscionable. When they find out about it, they go, no, that's fucked up. Same thing that happened with my detention, right? Now, what's really interesting about it is that Neera Tanden and the like weren't chirping about the Trump administration detaining me when I arrived in the country from my trip to France. And they are now. They are collaborating and coordinating a messaging campaign to justify Trump's actions. Why do you think that's the case? I know why. Back then, they weren't doing it. That was an unjustifiable detention. Why didn't they defend Trump doing that? Why didn't they hit the lines of like, oh, Kamala Harris wouldn't have detained you? Why are they doing it now? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I started working with insurgent candidacies, and I started helping them win insurgent candidacies in the Democratic Party, and then that threatened their money. That threatened their influence. It threatened the influence of those who want to maintain centrist control over the center of the Democratic Party. It's just funny because if this party had demonstrated that it was fighting for us in any meaningful way, shape, or form, if it was worth a, then obviously there would be a lot more people out there doing the same thing that Blue MAGA is doing, or at the very least, like demonstrate similar loyalty. They're doing this to a party that is unbelievably unpopular. They're doing this to a party that is unpopular because it's not sufficiently fighting against Trumpism. Now let's take a look at these
Fox
videos.
News and a bunch of news outlets. The feds subpoenaed Hassan Piker, Medea Benjamin, and other activists and organizers who went to Cuba. And as someone who was actually on the delegation with Code Pink and who has gone to Cuba more than once with Medea Benjamin, let me just say that this regime, all of those right-wingers that were getting online when we were on our trip talking about we were partying, that Code Pink threw a concert. Oh, and let me not forget all them white Cubans in Miami that ain't in Cuba can eat shit. And let me set the record straight, especially since these billionaire-backed media companies wouldn't care about the truth if you slapped it on their forehead. While folks were getting online spreading propaganda about that Cuban trip, having not stepped nary a foot in Cuba, let me remind the masses that while Americans can travel to Cuba, it is heavily restricted, which means that number one, we have to get a visa, and we cannot travel over to Cuba as tourists and can only travel under 12 authorized categories according to OFAC guidelines. And the OFAC is the Office of Foreign Assets Control. So those categories have to be religious activities, educational activities, visiting family, or humanitarian efforts. In addition to that,
and
as
journalism.
I said in multiple videos, when we
like, not only was there a humanitarian component to this, obviously on top of that, I was there, like I was there on a journalism visa. So it's doubly
came back from Cuba, the United States Department of State does not allow Americans to stay in any of this list of hotels. Because our delegation specifically came by the hundred, we did not stay as what is known as a casa particulare, but at a hotel that's approved by the United States government. Which makes me wonder, when right-winger and white supremacist Nick Shirley flew to Cuba and lied, saying that he was quote-unquote kidnapped and couldn't leave Cuba. If you look at these amazing curtains here, they belong to Hotel Nacional. For fact-checking purposes, Exhibit B. But what's interesting is Exhibit C. And the fact that Hotel Nacional de Cuba is on the restricted list. So while back in the day, the Hotel Nacional saw the likes of Frank Sinatra, Marlon Brando, Nat King Cole, it's actually illegal for Americans to stay there. But also, Nick Shirley is not Cuban, so that crosses off family. And then in addition to that, he wasn't going there for religious activity. And I didn't see him giving
Well, he is a Mormon. You don't know that.
Any humanitarian aid. So where's Nick Shirley's federal subpoena?
Yeah, it's not coming because Nick Shirley was sent most likely by the government. And yeah, was the uncommitted movement fascist? I'm uncommitted on getting Hassan subpoenaed. Like, these guys barely break 1,000 likes on Twitter, okay? At a certain point, I'm going to stop talking about it. Actually, that point is probably coming soon. I just wanted to mention that if your timeline is also polluted with this kind of insanity, there is a dedicated push from a lot of people, sex pestiny orbiters for the most part, and the the corporate lobbyist wing of the Democratic Party that actually is desperately holding on to the center of power in the National Democratic Party that has led to the Democrats making terrible choices, terrible decisions, and not be sufficient in fighting the Trump administration. Those guys don't have any real base. No, the Democratic primary voters voting uncommitted in the 2024 presidential primaries to signal their disapproval of Biden's foreign policy and warned that it would cost the party if unaddressed was not fascist. The party should have listened. They were right on all accounts. But the party didn't want to listen to its own voters because at the elite level, it's disproportionately overrepresented by pro-Israel orgs, consultants, donors, patrons, and electeds. Many elderlies who couldn't digest that pro-Israel politics was rapidly losing popular purchase, which is why you guys have spent the last 2 years trying to conflate uncommitted, a movement of Dem primary voters, with any brown voters who defected to Trump in the general, which you could find in a non-white demo because Dems bled votes with everyone other than white college. But yeah, I'm glad that I have united all of my enemies. Nick Fuentes, again, a person who has been, in his own words, victim to lawfare and political persecution in this country. He's a neo-Nazi who has claimed that he's actually a Democrat now because he wants to punish Trump because Trump is a servant of Israel, right? Nick Fuentes, if Trump wants to win us back, putting Hassan Piker in prison forever would be a good start. Laura Loomer, who is no friend to Nick Fuentes and also another op of mine, President Trump can unite the entire country by having Hassan Piker arrested. It's his destiny. Interesting to see this weird orbit, this weird coalition coming together. Anti-Trump neo-Nazis, pro-Trump, pro-Israel Nazis like Laura Loomer, and the entirety of the centrist commentariat coming together and joining forces to say that the fascist president's insane encroachment on the First Amendment and targeting of political dissidents for doing activism, for doing humanitarian aid to a country that we're starving and destroying is actually a cause to celebrate. It has betrayed, it has proven something that I have said over and over and over again, okay? But I will say this. These people do not have any real political world view. Many of these people do not have a vision in the affirmative or even in the negative, honestly, for a future American society, a grand design. They don't care about anything. It's just petty personal grievances. Politics is simply team sport for them. Politics is not about a movement that will better people's lives. It's not about organizing. It's not about fighting some of these cancerous forces that have robbed, not only directly robbed regular Americans, but also robbed them of their political voice, whether it be the disenfranchisement of black voters or whether it be the groups, elements like AIPAC and numerous other corporate lobbies that subvert democracy at every turn. These people don't want to fight against any of that stuff. They don't care about any of this. All they care about is feeling like their team is winning. And they've decided that their team is this like increasingly shrinking factional team of center-right Democrats. And they will hold on to every bit of power that they have, no matter how silly they come across to a broader audience. It's that simple. That's where we're at now.
Jasmine Crockett is now.
They don't have any real. They don't have any real worldview beyond I hate the left. Beyond I hate Hassan Piker. That's it. And you should hate him too. That's their North Star. Anyway, here are some unlikely allies though. Mary Lou. Trump supporter Mary Lou is finally broken off with Donald Trump. Another testament to the importance of meeting people where they're at and communicating with them.
Trying to, at the very least, legally threaten, if not at some point outright bring charges against Hassan Piker. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, they're not going to put my boy in the clinker. That's not right.
Okay.
He's part of our family. They're not going to put him in the clinker. And right there, we've got his shirt. Haley's got one on.
Yeah, repping Hassan Piker.
We want him to know that we're backing him.
Hell yeah.
Now, why would they, it's a subpoena? Is it a subpoena?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do it to him and not those other 600 people?
Well, they're going after him and then
the main lady, Pink.
Yeah, of Code Pink.
The leader of the group that put it all together.
Yeah.
But you're effectively here. You are siding with Hassan Piker against Donald Trump.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Even though he might have different points and different views, I can still like him, and I don't want our son in the clinker.
New World Order.
Is this even a serious case? Didn't they find out they fell for a Twitter meme or something? No, it isn't, but it doesn't matter because the fact that they're trying to do this is serious in and of itself. Like, do you understand? Hassan Piker looks shaken on stream as Feds probe Cuba trip. This is why they're doing it, by the way. They're trying to create a narrative that I'm like, I'm terrified, I'm shook, and I'm not going to keep doing what I'm doing. And they're stupid. They're stupid. They're stupid for this take. But it hasn't stopped them from fantasizing about this and believing that this is what's going on. I saw another post from that Norwegian MAGA LARPer that is a anime tourist and a video game tourist who like posted my face as Homelander being like, oh, I'll suck your dick, Trump. Please save me. I'll do anything. And it's like, yeah, that's what you would do in that situation. That's what you would do in that situation. So you're hoping that I behave in the same way. Well, it's not going to happen. But it's so strange because like this is not even beneficial for any of these people, right? It's not even beneficial and they don't get it. They don't understand it. Like, who is this for is the question. Is it for you? Is this helpful for you? If I go to prison? No, it's not. Is it helpful for you that the administration has decided to lock up dissidents? At some point, you might find yourself at odds with the administration. Is that a world that you want to live in? Certainly not a world that I want to live in. That's what I'm fighting against. This one has the beginning of the Fox interview.
Some of the misconceptions or misnomers about this whole thing with Hassan Piker. This is not about speech. It's about his actions. Can you please read my audience in on exactly what this is about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Tommy, this is absolutely not about free speech. This is not about revolutionary tourism, although there was a lot of that happening. This is an investigation by an office that most people don't want to ever have cross their path. It's called Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. And what they do is they make sure that U.S. citizens and companies are not aiding and abetting organizations, individuals, and countries that we've issued sanctions against. So a lot of people...
Like the entire sanctions is unbelievably bunk. Like, I am 100% in opposition to the sanctions that the Cuban government has had to withstand. I think it's ridiculous. So even on that front, it's ridiculous. Like, these restrictions are idiotic, and the government absolutely picks and chooses. There are certain American companies that are allowed to literally trade with Cuba, to send certain goods to Cuba, like that. They pick and choose, but they mostly enforce it to punish the Cuban population. That's it. What right does the U.S. government have to ban its citizens from visiting certain countries or dictating to them that various hotels, stores, malls, etc. are criminally banned? And what's the justification for investing Hassan and Medea Benjamin, but not Nick Shirley's Cuba trip? This is the whole point. The entire machinery is designed to, one, punish the Cuban population, and then two, it's something that they've never really done this before, something that they haven't done in the past, but I guess it's like unbelievably rare, but they're trying to use that as a vehicle to punish political dissidents.
People might know it, not know it, but the country of Cuba is run by the Communist Party of Cuba, and it is declared enemy of the United States. And what they are doing is investigating Hassan Piker to see his financial records, his communications, his logistics, and whether he was working and aiding and abetting the Communist Party of China. Of Cuba.
Anyway.
I said China, but that isn't.
Well, we may find out that that's one and the same. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good slip.
But this one is not about speech. This is about his activity. So we'll wait and see what he's got going on there. Also, some issues with the dog collar that I don't like. Azra and Amani, thank you so much.
They can't even say it, too, because they're worried about getting sued. Isn't that funny? Fox News is trying to entertain it, but they can't like fully say it because random chirpers on the internet obviously don't have that same fear, but there is a level of like editorial control when you are a mainstream media outlet, so they can only like point to it. They can't fully lean into it, you know.
And she had more to say too.
I made sure we had a picture of Kaya in our...
Like, that's insane, bro. This is a Fox News Sunday program. What the do you mean? I have literal stalkers on the payroll, dude.
Coverage, just because I know there's folks like you, Tommy, that are paying attention to this dog that Hassan Piker has sitting in the back of his live streams for hours on end.
Bro, your own stalker operation literally destroyed the fucking meta. Not only did it prove that it's a vibration collar, but it also proved that she goes on long walks throughout the goddamn day. So obviously she's not sitting behind me the whole day. She's literally outside in the photos. I know it doesn't matter. None of it matters, but Jesus Christ, dude, it is so strange. Anyway, there's more to it. She went on another show at this time to talk about
financial records, his communications, his logistics, and whether he was working and aiding and abetting the Communist Party of China. Of Cuba. I said China, but
I found this interesting. So a few years ago, there was the tenant company scandal where several conservative influencers were getting paid by a company that was on.
Yeah, that was Russia. Okay, an actually wealthy petro-capitalist state, and nothing happened to the people who literally got paid by Russia to do pro-Russian propaganda. It's so strange, dude.
The back end getting paid by Russia, but even under a federal investigation, I believe under the Biden administration, they found that those influencers didn't know. They didn't know where the money was coming from, so they weren't criminally liable. But it brought up this idea, this foreign agent registration necessity. Is there specific legislation for
what is this person
Cuba
saying?
and kind of
oh my gosh, he's literally watching the stream. Oh my God, this psycho is literally watching the stream, dude. Oh my Lord. Straight up, they got stalkers on the payroll. They have Fox News senior editors that are just now that are now tasked with stalking my stream. Oh my God, I'm gonna accidentally pee on camera. You guys are gonna hear my stream. It's gonna be on Fox News now. It's insane. I told you she's always watching your streams. Before her current job at Fox News investigative reporter who watches us on the Hunt live streams all day, Azra Nomani's whole shtick was using her Muslim identity as a cover to advocate for surveillance and repression of her community. Some of her previous work: airport security, let's profile Muslims. Muslim journalist defends surveillance by NYPD, says some Muslims use religion as a cover. Journalist Azra Nomani being interviewed. Oh my God, literally an agent of the state. Oh, what a psycho.
Agent registration. In other words, if Hassan Piker took any type of payment for the propaganda, then he has to register as a foreign agent.
Well, that's another law, but it could apply also in the activities that Hassan Piker's been involved in, because exactly like you said, there could be that you're violating the sanctions. So that's one set of laws. And then another one is that you could be doing influence peddling for a foreign nation. And that's this law where you have to register. So, I mentioned China, and one of the important aspects of this is that there is this tech tycoon named Neville Roy Singham living in China who has pumped $285 million into nonprofits, including one of the nonprofits that Hassan Piker accompanied called Code Pink. And the big question on that...
it's so funny because I love Code Pink, by the way, but I didn't even go there with Code Pink. I went there with Progressive International. So there are numerous groups that were that are part of the planning process, but it's just fucking so stupid to keep stressing this. Bro, she is, as we speak, sitting around watching the stream and filming it on her phone, boomer style. Yeah, I know. I saw. I'm sure she's very excited at the fact that I'm talking about her being on pro IDF. Of course, she's wearing an IOF hoodie here. Oh my God. Ugh. Of course she's pro IOF, Israeli occupying forces. These guys should focus on people getting payments from the Israeli state with their close associations and allegiances to the Israeli state. Of course, they can't do that. They would have to punish their own people quite a bit. I don't do any of that shit. I believe what I believe. I say what I believe. That's it. And that's part of the reason why they lose their goddamn minds. They lose their goddamn minds because I'm an uncontrollable element, an uncontrollable entity, because I'm not accountable. I don't have a buy-in in this system. That's it. I don't have any major corporate sponsorships. So I'm not a controllable entity. And the more this movement grows, the more people come out whenever I go to different places, and the more they promote candidates that I'm promoting, and the more those guys win and the makeup of the National Democratic Party changes, the more responsive the Democratic Party becomes to its constituents rather than corporate interests, the bigger the threat is for them, because they are backed by corporations for the most part. Biggest bait and switch.
I am actually so happy. I am elated that this is happening to Hassan Piker. For years and years, he has been behind the scenes. I don't know, I guess I've been watching him since maybe 2020. He's been behind the scenes and now the establishment is concerned. First of all, the charges are bogus. Go watch his Cuba documentary. The fact that he's being subpoenaed for holding our country accountable for what we're clearly doing to destabilize Cuba, while also bringing over resources. This administration and the Department of Justice has decided to subpoena him and the founder of Code.